Yeah.
But so when you think about strength and fortitude, though, I don't know. Do you think about those terms at all? I'm curious because
Well, how would you define fortitude?
that's interesting. Yeah, that's a great question. I was going to ask you the same,
Yeah.
but I would say so. Fortitude for me would be di- difficult to overcome. Something like that. Something has
Mhm.
fortitude. It's different to overcome.
Like an adversity.
Yeah, but just in general, like I would even say I've often defined strength as the ability to resist. So if you think about strength training, you're resisting a load. But if you also think about strength of character, you think about resisting adversity, resisting life's let's say temptations to
Right,
evil.
vices and
Right.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. Yeah, no, I think about fortitude all the time, and I often would put it in with temperance,
Yeah.
right?
Interesting.
Like having, for example, I work on temperance. I'm a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah.
Okay, 10 years. I have not taken a drink in 10 years.
Wow.
July the 26th was my 10-year anniversary this year, and temperance. I learned a lot about temperance because I'm an all-in kind of a person. I think a lot of people can relate to being an all-in kind of person.
Yeah.
So if I saw a bag of chips, I couldn't just eat one chip. I got to eat all the bag.
A little bit.
Right?
Yeah.
If I saw a case of beer, I can't just have one beer. I got to drink all the beer.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
And if I'm whatever I'm in, I'm all in. Right. I just with the definition of concentration, be there.
Yeah.
And that's how I would be. And so this fortitude and temperance, the ability to temper and have the fortitude to avoid the adversity of the negative effect, right? Of
Yeah.
eating the full bag of chips or having all the beer.
Yeah.
Tempering yourself. That to me is something that I work on daily, is to
Yeah.
temper my time that I spend on things, to temper what I look at, what I read, what I eat,
Yeah.
and that is a constant virtue that
Yeah.
I would
Sure.
seek to be better at each day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the consequences of, would you say the consequences of not doing something like that?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
or doing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's going to be consequences regardless of any choice we make. It could be a positive or a negative consequence. It's still a
Right.
consequence. We often, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but the word consequence in and of itself could be looked at as negative.
Yeah.
Right?
It's often that has a
Right?
connotation, but it could be a positive
It
consequence
could be
too. Yeah.
exactly, right?
Exactly.
So it's the same thing. We're dealt a hand each day. We get up in the morning and we're dealt a series of choices,
Right.
right? So sometimes you're going to have to temper some of those choices depending on what type of vices lead you astray in your day or your life.
Yeah.
And hey, sometimes it's fun to eat bags of chips,
Yeah.
right?
Sometimes that's
Yeah,
the
right.
temperance in
Yeah,
moderation.
yeah, in moderation. So it's tempering that and hey, I don't know. I deal with anger too.
Mm-hmm.
Like anybody, it's probably one of my top emotions, one of
Yeah.
my first go-tos,
Sure.
right? In certain circumstances, but to temper it, like man, I really like Jordan Peterson's approach to how he just deals with just a parade of crazy that comes at him almost daily from people, like the negative backlash that he may face, this fella. But anytime he's ever asked a question, and I know, like, I get a reaction going, dang,
Yeah.
get on that guy for that question. He sits in it.
Yeah.
He tempers himself. He sits in it, waits, and often to an awkward timed level.
Right.
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 And then he comes out with an answer. And if he doesn't have an answer, he'll be the first to say he doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, man, that's a great skill it's a very stoic approach to fielding difficult conversations.
It's hard, man. When can you imagine being in that public of an interview and then someone's purposefully trying to trip you up? Like he certainly had his. You can tell that Peterson has strength of character as well, right? Like strength of character is not being a pushover either.
No.
So he does have this fortitude, but he's also very, very controlled.